Live on DSTV channel 421, Go TV channel 125, also on myjoyonline.com and all our social media platforms. This is Joy News Prime. I am Emefa Apauga. Our lead stories in this bulletin. Our Defense Ministry vows to make Ghana unattractive for terrorism as the armed forces begins flashing out suspected terrorists from border communities. Details as the ministry says so far 20,000 persons have been repatriated, with more expected in the coming days. Also, Parliament set to investigate leaked tape which allegedly reveals plot to oust IGP Dampare as part of plans to rig 2024 elections. Details of a statement made on the floor and a spirited debate on both sides. Also, NPP's second highest decision-making body to determine fate of 10 flag bearer hopefuls. We hear from the General Secretary of the party who promises the National Council will be fair in its decision. Also hear from aspirant and former Trades Minister Dr. Kofi Kunedu-Apreku as he reveals how he was sidelined by the current administration.
I worked very hard. I went to everywhere that I could go. But I was not offered any position.
Would you have wanted one?
If it was offered to me, yes, I would have accepted.
Later, I'll take you to the town of Anum in the eastern region and introduce you to the custom that forbids locals and guests from keeping dogs on the land.
Everyone is expected to go by this directive in order to incur the wrath of the gods. If you are a stranger passing through the town with your dogs, the village folks will kill them.
Many thanks for your company. We dig in now in our very first story. The Defense Ministry has vowed to make Ghana an unattractive location for suspected terrorists trooping in from neighboring Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire and Togo. The Ghana Armed Forces, we are told, is leading that operation to send illegal immigrants and others living unlawfully in the country's border communities back to where they came from. Let me bring in the Deputy Defense Minister, Kofi Amankwame, who thankfully joins us via Zoom. We are grateful for your time here on Joy News Prime. So let's talk about this particular operation being undertaken by the Defense Ministry, government, and the Ghana Armed Forces, for that matter. What exactly is the objective, you would say?
So thank you very much, Jennifer. So basically what we are trying to do is to make Ghana safe, to make sure that Ghanaians can go to bed and sleep at night, to make sure that we nip the activities of terrorist groupings in the bud. Basically, that is what it is. So if you look at the surrounding countries of Burkina Faso, Togo, and then Cote d'Ivoire, these countries have intensified their security operations and trying to fight these terrorist groupings. And when there are problems in these countries, obviously Ghana becomes a safe haven for almost every citizen in this country. And so most of them, because of this intensified operations by the respective armed forces of these countries, a lot of people are finding their way into Ghana. And some of them are going through approved routes, and others are going through unapproved routes. And so if you go through approvals, we are able to really, know exactly who is coming in and who is going out. But the problem is that many are also going through unapproved routes. And intelligence, have indicated that some of these people are actually terrorists. And so we have to be worried. We have to do that which it takes to make sure that we protect the Ghanaians. And that is exactly what we are doing.
But up to 20,000 at least, like you told my colleague, have been repatriated so far. Well, the concern then is how sure we are that some of these persons are not people who have been genuinely displaced by insurgent attacks in neighboring countries. How are we hoping to do this, Stephen, such that we will not mix the two?
If I come again,
I'm asking about how we are genuinely doing this to, decipher between genuinely displaced people and the insurgents that we are looking for as part of this operation.
All right. Obviously, MFA, we will not just see anybody and just ask the person to leave, this country. We will do all the necessary checks. And, the operation is intelligence-led. And so when we find what is not supposed to be on you. We have every right to let you go back to where you came from. So it is not an issue, or it is not simply that the armed forces will go, they will see anybody in the street and ask you, are you a Burkinabe? Go back. No, that is not what we are doing. All those who are coming through, the approvals, of course. We are doing all these things, and if having it at the back of our minds that we live in a global village. And so we are very mindful of all the conventions of which we are supposed to adhere to. And we are doing all this and situating it in that context. And so we are making sure that we will not, maltreat anybody or do anything inhumane to any African. That is not what we are doing. But all we are seeking to do is to protect our country and to make sure that the Ghanaian is well protected. And so those who are coming through on approvals, we are really on their heels. And that is exactly what we are doing. We will not do anything inhumane to any African.
Well, Mr. Mankwamenu, then, what then do you say to persons who are already alleging that it appears that this operation is particularly targeted at Fulani herdsmen, amongst others, or people of Fulani descent in particular? How do you respond to such allegations?
That is never true, and that can never be true. If you are a Fulani herdsman and you are here, you went through the approval, you are here, I don't think that they will just push you away because we are Fulani. It is never true. It is never true. But those who have been sent back, we have questions to ask. Those who have been sent back, we have done our necessary checks, we have done the saving through, and we think that they are people we cannot continue to live with here in Ghana.
How long is this operation, and in which regions in particular? And you said 20,000 previously. As a close of day today, how many people have we been able to repatriate?
Well, I cannot give the figures as I sit here today or right now, because the situation is so fluid and we are monitoring every hour, every minute, every day. So it will be difficult, but I'm sure to get the numbers by close before I go to bed, because I'm still in the office. Monitoring situation. And so, yes, we cannot give the exact figure, but we have them coming in droves to this country. And the regions that we have this problem really going on is to do with Upper West, Upper East, the Savannah regions, the Northeast, and the Northern region. And so you can tell that, our border, all the northern border regions are going through some sort of problems now with the coming in of these people from neighboring countries.
And are you able to tell the timeline for this operation? How long is it going to be on, you'd say?
Well, we will keep the momentum going. We will keep the operation going as long as people continue to come to this country illegally, using illegal routes. We will continue to do that, because our duty, first of all, is to make sure that this country is safe from any attacks from outside. And so as long as people continue to come in through unapprovals, this operation will continue to go on.
But hearing that this operation is targeting terrorists and insurgents, amongst others, should we be concerned as citizens that we may be in some sort of danger when it comes to these attacks of these insurgents, you'd say?
I think that over some time now we have been drumming home the idea that people must be concerned about the environment, and that Ghanaians must, whatever you see, you have to say something to the security agencies. We have been drumming home this clarion call. And as I said, if it was important yesterday, it is more important today. Yet, we have to be on the lookout. This is a collective duty every Ghanaian must be up and doing. But I can confidently also tell you that our men in uniform are ready and they are up to the task. All we are asking is that Ghanaians must be vigilant, they must assist the security agencies, and I have so much confidence in our security agencies, and they are up to the task. They will do, but they need the assistance of every Ghanaian, especially our brothers and sisters in the regions that I mentioned.
I'm particularly curious so far with the 20,000 that has been repatriated. I'm sure some screening of a sort has been done. Are you able to tell if indeed there's been a real threat? You found really someone who is really a terrorist or an insurgent that you are pursuing?
Well, obviously, MFA, there is no way we would send people out if indeed we did not see anything or we did not, come. Definitely before we will come to the conclusion of, repatriating you, it means that there is something wrong somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, that is what it is. And at the appropriate time, we will let Ghanaians know what is it that we saw, and the reasons why we have to ask people to go back to where they came from.
Okay, and you're sure they have not infiltrated ranks in here in the country before you're repatriating them?
As if I am asking Ghanaians to help us.
Okay.
We will do. I mean, over the period, we have said over and over again that if you look at the movement of these terrorist groupings, it's southward. So obviously they are looking for opportunities to enter into this country to undertake some of these wicked activities. But the security services are also up to the task. Ask yourself why Ghana continues to be the only country in this area that has not been hit so far. It is not because we are special people, but it is because we have some group of persons who are working so hard to make sure that you and I will continue to enjoy the peace that we have in this country.
Okay.
Our men are up to the task. Yes, people will try all manner of ways to get into this country to undertake, these activities. But trust me, our men are up to the task.
Okay, we're grateful. Thank you so much for your company this evening. That's Mr. Kofi Amankwah-Manu, is the Deputy Defense Minister, joining us on that particular action that they've taken so far. There's more on myjoyonline.com. Let me take you to Parliament now, and the minorities' quest to have their names captured as absent with permission for their boycotts has been shut down by the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing. The minority had, in a fierce argument on the floor, demanded that they be captured as absent with permission whenever they boycott sittings to go to court to support their colleagues whom they say are facing persecution or prosecution, I should say. But the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbing, denied the request as ill-conceived. We'll hear from him shortly, but first listen to Noftong MP Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa raising the issue on the floor.
Following honourable members were absent, and then he proceeds to list the names of all of us on this side of the aisle. Mr. Speaker, we have indicated that anytime our colleagues appear before the court, we will boycott proceedings. And yesterday's absence was a boycott. So I thought that that will be captured for the record. So it's not as though we just absented ourselves. Because I recall that the votes and proceedings has captured previously walkouts and boycotts. So I rise to seek your guidance on this matter so that, just for accuracy's sake, so the impression is not created that we just are absenting ourselves and are not working. At least there should be a line that the minority caucus boycotted proceedings, just for the accuracy of our records. Because in time past, that has been the case, and the table office has captured that accurately. So I'm wondering why that is not happening this time. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to seek your guidance in that direction.
Well, this generated into a debate. We heard from majority MPs who believed the NDC group's demand was outlandish.
Right from page 1, those members who were present in the House were marked present. Those who were absent were recorded as having been absent. And those who were absent with permission were recorded as members who were absent with permission, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, boycotts happen when members enter the chamber and sign as having attended upon the House. Sometimes members will come, sign in, and walk out. When the caucus is boycotting, they notify the Speaker. In this instance, members in their right were absented themselves to solidarize with our colleague, which is within the right of the minority caucus. So my brother from North Tongue asking for you to create a line stating that they were absent to accompany our colleague in court, I don't think has any place in our votes and proceedings. Once you are absent, you are absent.
When it comes to voting in the House, I'm not aware that Right Honorable Speaker, you accept when a leader of each side, me as a leader of the minority and my people, we are voting no. And then when he says that, you record 137, no. Do we do that in this House? Me, Dr. Tufosi, me and as a minority leader, me and my people, we are voting no. Then you record 137 because he's the leader. Then that's it. Then we take it. Do we do that in this House? So we don't vote individually. Mr. President, Mr. Right Honorable Speaker, we will represent constituencies. This morning, I have signed in front of the name of my constituency that I have attended Parliament. I'm here. And that's what we all do. So when people attend Parliament, they sign, it is recorded that they have attended Parliament to a sitting. If they don't do it, they have absented themselves.
And it was a turn for the minority leadership, and they fought back.
When the minority leader, Honorable Oseiche Mensah Bonsu, said the entire minority were not going to be part of the business, he did not say anything. And therefore, that decision from the minority leader was binding on all of them. And he had no voice on the floor on that day. So if the Honorable Atufosin said it here that the entire minority were boycotting Parliament, Mr. Speaker, all of us are bounded by his word. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, if you go to our standing orders, clearly that position by him must be registered on the votes and proceedings. That yesterday, the minority caucus boycotted proceedings on this floor. And Mr. Speaker, with permission, I refer you to Order 34. Order 34.1. The minutes of proceedings of Parliament, votes and proceedings shall be a record of the attendance of members at each sitting. Mr. Speaker, the record of attendance of yesterday's sitting was that the minority boycotted and we were not here. And it must be reflected on the votes and proceedings. That is what Honorable Okujato is saying. Mr. Speaker, why should we belabor this? And Mr. Speaker, to proceed, the Honorable Kennedy Ohina Japan yesterday was in German North. He has been registered as president. Honorable Minister for Gender, when he was being looked for to lay a paper, he was nowhere to be found. Ministers who were absent and they could not lay their paper, and the majority leader laid their paper on their behalf, are registered as present. We who boycotted are registered as absent without permission. Mr. Speaker, we did not only boycott, we sought your leave and your permission to boycott, and therefore we must be registered as absent with permission. And the permission was that we boycotted. That was our reason for not being present. But if you say just absent, somebody take it and he said that we were not here. Mr. Speaker, I think you should rule us out of order.
And then the Speaker, who was supposed to give a ruling on this, rejected the argument of the minority.
A member, if he wants not to attend, but wants to be recorded as being absent because a permission has been granted, that permission has to be granted by the Speaker in writing. That is what guides attendance to the House. So you can choose to attend and you can choose not to attend. Now, when you choose not to attend, depending on your own action, you could be marked as absent, and that means without permission, or absent with permission. Now, the with permission means there's evidence, not oral, but in writing, that the Speaker has granted you that permission to be absent. And so the burden will now shift onto you as a group to show evidence that my good self has granted you permission to absent yourselves in writing. We have two documents. One is the official report. The official report will definitely capture what the minority leader stated that day. That any time a colleague of yours is to attend court proceedings, you will solidarize with that colleague and you will be absent to participate with that colleague in the court proceedings. And so I think the table office is right in saying that you've been absent without permission. That is what our rules say. Now,
We'll stay a while longer in Parliament, where the Speaker says there are more questions than answers surrounding a recently leaked tape which allegedly exposes a plot by a leading member of the governing NPP and a senior police officer to oust IGP Dr. George Akufu-Dampare. The leaked tape also revealed efforts to rig the 2024 elections. Deputy Minority Leader Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa made an urgent statement on the floor on the leaked tape. Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante has more.
The minority insists that the tape exposes a greater risk to the country's democracy. According to Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, in the least, the Interior Minister must commit to investigate the tape.
When there's a leaked tape, when the leaked tape, there's issues around the leaked tape, it has to do with the IGP, the sitting IGP, and the attempt to remove him, and the issues about 2024 election, and what must be done to make sure that a new IGP is put in place who will collude with a sitting government to get a certain outcome. That must concern this parliament. It borders on the security and the stability of our country. And it's very important that the minister is here, that this house, and I'm happy he's here, that this house wants to know who are those involved, what is the authenticity of that leaked tape. We need to find out, and I think all I'm asking, Mr. Speaker, is that we ask the Minister of State, who is responsible for this sector, to look into the matter.
Some majority MPs have been criticizing their NDC colleagues for seeking to politicize this issue.
Let me state clearly that as Minister for the Interior, it is my duty to make sure that there is peace and security in the country. And therefore, investigating any piece of information, I have no problem with it in principle at all. At all. So to get the impression that an IGP can do something extraordinarily wonderful to assist a party to win election is wrong. If there's a tape and you want it to be investigated, I, in principle, have no problem. But to go ahead and give the impression that a particular IGP presence or not, or whether he's office or not, will determine the outcome of election is wrong.
But the NDC MP say this is too big to let it slide.
And Mr. Speaker, we do so not just for the professional integrity of the IGP, and to preserve and protect him and empower him to ensure that elections in this country, even tomorrow, are conducted in a manner. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure you have always taught us that the word free and fair have constitutional meaning. When the Constitution says that elections shall be conducted in a manner which is free. Free from what? Free from fear, free from intimidation, free from influence. It has a meaning. So free and then fair. So, Mr. Speaker, to preserve our democracy and to protect the professional integrity of the Inspector General of Police, and to appreciate what Dampari is doing in preserving this, we are requesting for a parliamentary inquiry into this matter.
Police officers involved in a conspiracy to rig the upcoming elections. Mr. Speaker, it should be a matter that should engage the attention of this House. And we're saying that Mr. Speaker makes appropriate directives so that this matter can be gone into and the veracity or otherwise of the audio authenticated. And if it is authenticated, those behind this whole thing should be punished. They should be prosecuted to serve as a deterrent.
Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has ruled that the House will investigate the matter.
There's the need for an investigation. But going by the standing orders, I have to give proper direction as to the nature, the type of investigation.
What is now left is the form and shape that this investigation will take. Will the Speaker of Parliament refer this to the Defense and Interior Committee of the House, which is already constituted to deal with this matter, or will an ad hoc committee be set up with members on both sides joining to deal with this matter? But what is clear now is that Parliament is taking this matter very seriously, and that this is something that is beginning to shape up conversations ahead of the crucial 2024 elections, given some of the explosive things that the persons were said to have been uttering on this tape. And the minority say that this investigation is crucial to safeguard the country's democracy. Reporting for Joy News, Kweku Asante, Parliament House, Accra.
And the House has passed an amendment to the Narcotics Control Commission Act after the Supreme Court struck out Section 43 of the law as unconstitutional. We know that Section 43 empowered the Interior Minister to grab license to an entity to cultivate a small quantity of cannabis in Ghana for industrial and medicinal purposes. The Supreme Court said because there was no debate on the floor on that particular section, it was null and void. The Speaker of Parliament and the Interior Minister took on the court for that particular order. Tonight, Parliament has amended the law and inserted the same provision back into it.
Motion that the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 be now read the third time. Minister for Interior.
Right Honourable Speaker, I move that the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 be now read the third time.
The question is that those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. The motion is carried.
An act to amend the Narcotics Control Commission Act 2022 Act 1019 to insert Section 43 to empower the Minister to grant a license for the cultivation of cannabis, which has not more than 0.3% THC content on dry weight basis for industrial purposes, for obtaining fiber or seed, or for medicinal purposes.
Honourable members, the Narcotics Control Commission Amendment Bill 2023 is deemed read the third time and passed.
This is Joy News Prime here on the Joy News channel. Still to come in the bulletin, we'll take you to the town of Anum in the eastern region and introduce you to the custom that forbids locals and guests from keeping dogs on the land.
Everyone is expected to go by this directive in order not to incur the wrath of the gods. If you are a stranger passing through the town with your dogs, the village folks will kill them.
This is Joy News Prime. We're live on the Joy News channel, also on DSTV channel 421, GoTV 125, and on myjoyonline.com. Many thanks for staying with us. Let's head to the courts now. And former Cocobod CEO, Dr. Stephen Opuni, is asking for a detailed analysis of the High Court records since 2017 before his criminal trial can resume. The Court of Appeal last week directed the High Court to rely on record of proceedings already gathered as against having a fresh trial, despite a new judge taking over the case. Lawyers for Mr. Opuni on Wednesday told the High Court they disagree with this decision and intend to urge the Supreme Court to set it aside. Legal Affairs correspondent Joseph Akable has more.
Chief State Attorney Evelyn Kelson on Wednesday informed the court that the state has successfully obtained a favorable decision at the Court of Appeal. The Court of Appeal had taken the view that the High Court got it wrong when it ruled that the trial should start afresh due to multiple allegations of unfairness contained in its records. Lawyers for Dr. Opuni are challenging this decision and have taken the matter to the highest court of the land. They argue that the High Court judge exercised their discretion within the law and this decision should be allowed to stand. The case is now being handled at the High Court by Justice Abuaji Tando. Dr. Opuni's lawyers urge the court to make proceedings compiled since 2017 available, contending it is necessary for a full-scale analysis to determine the accuracy before the case can continue. The case has therefore been adjourned to July 25. The lawyers are expected to receive copies of the record of proceedings as well as raise concerns on the said day. Dr. Opuni, businessman Seidu Agongo, and Agriculture Ghana Limited have been standing trial since 2017 for various offences bordering on causing financial loss to the state and stealing.
On to politics now, and all 10 aspirants that have been cleared by the vetting committee of the governing NPP still have another hurdle to cross before they are finally qualified to contest the race. Although the vetting committee has given a green light for their candidature, it is not binding, as the National Council of the party, which is the second highest decision-making body, will have to scrutinize the recommendations. According to the General Secretary, Justin Frimpong-Kodia, nothing stops the National Council from varying the recommendations of the vetting committee. He has, however, indicated that they will ensure the election process is free, fair and transparent for all aspirants.
The recommendation by the vetting committee is not binding on National Council is the second highest body of the party. Maybe they may be privy to certain information that the vetting committee didn't have, and nothing stopped the National Council from varying the recommendation of the vetting committee. Well, barring any unforeseen circumstances or activities happening, I'm very sure the number will be more than 5. So certainly there will be a special delegate college. For that one, I'm very sure. The process has not ended. We have a bigger task ahead of us in 2024 to become the first political party to have won election on 3 consecutive occasions, which means that their actions and inactions, their utterances should be measured to reflect the unity that we need in the party to also make the reconciliation after the election very easy for all of us. So my word of advice to all of them and their supporters is to be measured in their utterances and also to have the party's interest first at heart before any other interest comes in. So it is important that we all work together as a party to ensure that everyone's statement or everyone's campaign is decorum. It also throws a challenge to us as national party. Our duty as referees is to make sure that the processes leading to the elections are also free, fair, transparent, and also peaceful. It also makes it easy for everyone.
But as the process continued to build up to the elections, flag-bearer aspirant Dr. Kunedu Apreku, who is former Trade and Industry Minister, has been talking about how he's been sidelined by Akufo-Addo after promising him ministerial appointments in his government. He's been speaking on PM Express.
I did not get up. I was the campaign manager for Mr. President Akufo-Addo in 2008. 2012, I was in charge of security, and the last one that I did not have any position, I worked very hard with him. I went to everywhere that I could go, but I was not offered any position.
Would you have wanted one?
Obviously, if it was offered to me, yes, I would have accepted it. I mean, if one that I wanted was offered to me, or one that I could have made.
What did you want?
No, well, my background is in finance, economics. So any of those finance related, I've been a trade minister before. I've been a member of party.
You would have preferred a trade minister and Akufo-Addo's government?
I would not have preferred a trade minister because I've been a trade minister. And
a finance minister?
Well, my background, I wouldn't have mine at all.
You would have accepted it?
Yes.
But he stuck with Colonel Furiata.
Yes. So I had to find a job. And so I don't understand. It's not a betrayal. If anything at all, it should be the reverse.
That they betrayed you?
Well, whatever you want to, they did not find a use for me. A use for me that was appropriately packaged.
Did you make yourself available?
I was available very much, and there's no doubt about that. But these are private issues. Yeah.
The president is your friend. You served with him.
Well, more than a friend.
You could have
more than we are just like brothers at one point. Yeah. For me to have his confidence.
How do you feel when you were ignored?
When I was ignored? Well, they didn't say you are ignored. They say that you get this and this and this, and it keeps going off.
You make promises?
Yes.
Promises such as?
Oh, that is not something that I was, some ministries were mentioned to me.
Before you won power or after?
We won power and after, both. Before and after. But they didn't come true.
You were promised ministries before and after, and none of that those promises were not kept?
No.
By your good friend, the president?
Yes.
Have you spoken to him about this?
That is my friend. We speak when it comes to ECOWAS. I'm the one that goes to meet him at the airport, bring him to his hotel, give him the briefings of the conference.
What excuse does he give you?
He doesn't give me any excuse. He giving me, I have a position in ECOWAS, and he always asks me, are you happy here? That's that kind of question.
Are you happy at ECOWAS?
Well, ECOWAS was not a bad place.
Well, in the town of Anum in the eastern region, custom dictates that both the residents and guests must not keep dogs. Yes, having a dog is forbidden, no matter the reason. Disregard the tradition and incur the wrath of the gods. Samuel Mbura visited the community to uncover the story behind this custom.
Everyone is expected to go by this directive in order not to incur the wrath of the gods. If you are a stranger passing through the town with your dogs, we will allow you to go. But to stay in this town with your dogs, the village folks will kill them. As for me, I would have preferred to keep dogs because they can be used for security at home and hunting. But our elders are insisting we go by the instructions of the gods, and we can't do anything about it. The deity led this town from its inception, and that is what it dislikes.
In the eastern region town of Anum, you may never hear the barking of a live dog. If you ever do, it may either be from your television or an audio recording. Moving around the town, you will find cats, goats, and other animals. But for dogs, no way. The reason is simple. Keeping dogs, for whatever reason, will be a breach of custom because of a century-long held belief that the gods of the land hate the presence of other dogs. The gods believe Anum already has spiritual dogs guarding the town. Hence, a physical one is not needed. Residents here like Kofi has a desire to keep dog for hunting and security at home. However, the fear of divine punishment as well as the disapproval of the town's revered elders has compelled him to conform to the customs.
As for me, I would have preferred to keep dogs because they can be used for security at home and hunting. But our elders are insisting we go by the instructions of the gods, and we can't do anything about it.
Ejayao, another resident, holds a firm belief that the people of Anum have no choice but to honor the gods by being obedient. He sees the prohibition on dogs as an expression of gratitude for the gods' unwavering protection over the town throughout history.
The deity led this town from its inception, and that is what it dislikes. So we have no option but to go by his instructions.
The views of Kobina, who also lives in Anum, are not different from Ejayao and Kofi, because he sees the prohibition on dogs as a preservation of their cherished history and honoring the legacies of their ancestors. The prohibition on dogs in Anum has become deeply part of the lives of the town's inhabitants, shaping their way of life and their understanding of the divine order. But what lay at the heart of this intriguing custom? Kofi Osai, the revered Asafwache of the Nimfa division in the Num traditional area, explains.
The reason we don't keep dogs in this town is because our deity guards the people with his own dogs. He dislikes the barking of other dogs who may see him patrolling the town at night and prefers to operate in silence without attracting any attention. That is why community members have been instructed not to keep dogs in this town.
Attention. Say ebia bribi say ekoso anado ewo kronumu onunti na omonfa yemma kraman emba kronumu.
But what fate awaits those who unknowingly send dogs into a Num town? The Asafwache, Kofi Osai, explained that such individuals will be required to undergo a ceremonial purification process intended to appease the gods and re-establish harmony within the community. In the worst situation, one could be attacked by community members for disrespecting their customs.
Everyone is expected to go by this directive in order not to incur the wrath of the gods. If you are a stranger passing through the town with your dogs, we will allow you to go. But to stay in this town with your dogs, the village folks will kill them. Dogs from nearby villages are not even allowed here.
Because the next town,
We'll take a quick break here on Joy News Prime. We'll return with Showbiz. Please stay. You're welcome back, and it's time for Showbiz, and Ivy is here. And anytime I see you, I feel that we're going to do cues and lyrics. I want to sing. I want to sing anytime I see you, but please. Another day.
You are good. Please, let it be like that, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I love you.
What are we talking about tonight?
So, Burna Boy is at it again after filling the 80,000 capacity stadium in UK. He has done it again in the United States, City Field, which is a 40,000 capacity stadium, but he made a 41,865 capacity. Yes, he filled it to that brim, sold out concert. Now, that is not the only amazing thing. So the amazing thing is, in the crowd, Busta Rhymes was seen together with some of his Flip Mode squad in front enjoying the Burna Boy concert. Well, this is what Burna Boy was able to do to Busta Rhymes. That was Busta Rhymes in the crowd, and you could see that he was not only just enjoying it, he was singing the song. Yeah. So it should tell you that Burna Boy is not only filling stadiums, he is also on mainstream radio.
I hope we are watching.
Worldwide.
Our people are watching, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we'll get there. But you know, he played Black Sherif's song, but unfortunately Black Sherif was also in UK on the Wireless Festival, and that's also the first time a Ghanaian has been on. Yeah, Black Sherif also marking some strides over there. But let's move away, let's come back to Ghana. So Dunsin Onika, Nigerian gospel musician who was in town, he had a bit of an extensive chat with Michael Becky. Okay. Now, in that conversation, he's talking about how much of a brother Joe Metal is to him and the kind of musicians, gospel musicians he loves here in Ghana, and the fact that he's been following the gospel fraternity a lot. Well, let's take a listen to, the conversation between Dusi Onika and my colleague Becky.
I love Ghana. Ghana is dear to my heart. I've been here many, many times, and it's always a delight to come and then just join in the worship of God in this land. And
the reception that you got this evening, did you see that coming, and how does that make you feel?
Well, no man takes this honor to himself except he who is called like Aaron is called. I believe that it's God that puts honor on people, and if you're a smart person, when you receive things like that, you take it back to the one who owns it. So, I don't really know how I feel, because it belongs to him, and we just gave it to him.
Yes. All come about, from Joe Metal. But I want you to...
Joe is a brother, and I've always loved him, love what he does. I love his style, I love his personnel. So when he reached out to me last time, I'm like, hey, bro, next year, June, I'm like, consider it done. I want to be here. I love what you do, and he's a voice in the land.
Joe, have you listened to any sound here, and are you looking forward to collaborating with anybody here in Ghana?
Well, collaboration is by the Spirit, I believe, but I have very good friends. Denzel Prempe is my very good brother and friend. He was the one I came to Ghana for the first time through Denzel, and then Pastor Denzel, God bless you. I love him so much. MOG, these guys are doing very well. And this awesome lady, Diana, I'm meeting. I love her song, Adu. I love you so much. The essence of my... so Adu. So I love it so much. These are great guys that the Lord is using, and hopefully by divine instruction and guidance, we believe we'll be able to do something together in the nearest future.
And this brings me to the part where I don't know about the entertainment industry or the gospel industry back home in Nigeria, but what is working for you, and what advice do you think you give to the younger ones who are looking forward to becoming somebody like...
Okay, I believe that grace is the unmerited favor of God.
And you know how he ended that? Let's give it all to God.
Yes.
Let it all go back to God.
Always.
You are singing. Can you sing me a line?
You have to go. I'll sing. Fragrance to Fire. We'll sing later for you. Thank you very much, Ivy. And that's how we wrap up today's edition of Joy News Prime. At the top of the hour, we have Prime Business with Pius. I am MFA Power. Have a good evening.